The second game we're looking at this week, folks, is Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands. That's the latest one from Ubisoft. Koz has been playing this one on, I think, the PS3 platform, Kozy?
On the Xbox 360,
On the Xbox 360. Okay, now we know there's a Prince of Persia movie coming out with Jake the whole...
The guy had Jarhead.
Yeah, the guy had a Jarhead.
And Donnie Darko.
Yeah, and Donnie Darko. Is this a movie tie-in?
No, it's not. This one relates back to the old video games that were on the PlayStation 2 and Xbox, the original Xbox, and it takes place between the Sands of Time and Warrior Within.
Okay, because I could have sworn he sort of looks like old Jake in this clip.
He does a little bit. I mean, they both have brunette hair and they're both the Prince.
Seems like an easy cash in there.
But he sounds more like Ewan McGregor than he does Jake Gyllenhaal.
So,
okay, all right.
So they clone the two together for Ewan Gyllenhaal.
So what did you actually play?
So I had a chance to sit down with the first hour to half an hour of the game. And it starts off where you're in a room and you're overlooking your brother's kingdom and it's being attacked because he tried to unleash a power that would save his kingdom, but it accidentally turned all of his citizens to stone.
So it did the opposite of saving the kingdom.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually evil, not good. So everyone's in stone and it's up to the prince to sort of save the day and fight off the sand army.
Okay, so how did it actually control, mate? Like, especially within, I guess, combat. Like, cause, you know, because the prince is known to be a fairly, fluid, acrobatic guy. Like, what was combat like?
Well, he's very agile. So you've got your basic X is to do like a slash. If you hold it down, he does like a power slash. You can also kick them, so if they're near a ledge, you could kick them off a ledge. But it's also sort of environmental, so if he's like near a wall, he'll sort of just pin them up against and then stab them in the chest, which is kind of cool. And another thing is if you get surrounded by a lot of enemies, because usually they come at you in waves, and it's very easy to get like sort of cornered by about 10 or 15 guys. You can jump on top of them and sort of jump from shoulder to shoulder, kind of like a cartoon.
So how do you do that? Is it fairly easy to pull off these moves?
It's very easy. It's a little bit cumbersome, like trying to control it at the time because everything's moving very, very fast, and you got to sort of get your bearings as to which direction you're jumping in. But once you get used to it, you can jump from shoulder to shoulder and get out of that corner and then start attacking them, making your way through.
Sounds a bit Tony Yo, when he's walking on the shoulders through the back alley. You mentioned the stabbing, and that's an important part of Prince of Persia, but the other bit is the platforming. How's that work in the game?
Well, I mean, in today's world, we're like Uncharted 2, where there's a lot of great platforming games. It does have a lot to compete with, but the platforming is very interesting. Some of the puzzles I had to play included like getting a cog from point A to point B, but in order to get it there, you would have to like lay down tracks, but you could only lay it in certain directions and turn it left and right. And it's just really interesting puzzles like that. The platforming's cool, so it's pretty much just jumping from ledge to ledge and grabbing onto like different poles and swinging from that sort of stuff.
What's the balance like between, I guess, combat and platforming? Because I think the last Prince of Persia game, but personally, I thought it swung a little bit more towards platforming than puzzle solving and actual combat. So what's the feel like for this game, man?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've only played the first hour, so it is sort of hard to gauge, but I agree with what you're saying. In this one, again, it does feel like you have scenes of combat, but then you'll be going through like a couple of stages of platforming, and later on in the game you get a really interesting power where you can freeze water for a certain amount of time, and instead of having like pillars and ledges to grab on, there's just like shooting fountains from side to side. So what you do is you got to freeze it, and then you can then grab onto that frozen water and swing from that, which is pretty cool.
Okay,
that does sound cool. When's this one out?
Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands is out on May 20 on all the major platforms.